Hi guys, it's Elisa and I'm going to be showing you how to paint the whiskey glass in Cigar today. I'm moving kind of fast because I decided to film right after I put paint on the canvas and it dries very fast. So give me just a second. I got really good feedback on it, so I decided to paint more. So my room is a little dark, but as you can see, they're very different. I'm not doing like the same exact, I call them replicas, and yes, like they're the same painting, but they're all different sizes, different dimensions. So today I'm going to kind of walk you through how I paint them. So first things first, I got a bunch of 18 by 24 canvases, and I started off by gessoing them. Gesso is a medium that you should put on your canvas. It just helps, I don't know, it does a bunch of things. It helps prevent the canvas from yellowing. It helps the paint last longer. It helps the paint go on smoother. It's like priming. It's like priming the canvas, and it's a really good thing to do. So after I gesso it, I put it on my easel, and as you can see, we have a gradient going from black to white and then a black table. So I start off by painting black, and I'm gonna put you in a time lapse just so you can watch, and then I'll scoot over to voiceover mode. That way you can see what's going on. So I believe here I'm using a sponge brush, or at least I switched over to a sponge brush to help apply that black paint on the top. As I work my way down, I introduce some white to kind of start that gradient look, and towards the bottom it's important that you get much lighter than the top, and then you leave yourself a couple of inches for black. And this part's really satisfying. It's just like trying to get the line as straight as possible, and that's going to be your table. Okay, I'm done with the background. Right now I'm just getting it some air so I don't like start painting and then it starts to mix and then it's a big goopy mess. So we have a gradient and then we have the black table. Now we're going to start outlining the dimensions. And I'm going to try to get it as close to this one as possible because the last two I've just been eyeballing them and the dimensions are all so different. So I'm going to really try to match this one as closely as I can. So I'm kind of using a paper towel to measure these dimensions. I'm not trying to make it like exact, like nail on the head, but I'm trying to get it in the same ballpark. So after that, I'm going to go in with black and white and make those highlights and shadows. It's really important that you do this. You look at the original painting or the original picture and you look at the darkest spots and the lightest spots, and that's the first thing you want to do because it really sets the dimension for the rest of your painting, and it helps your eyes a lot, like visually, to see what's the darkest and what's the lightest, and then you work around that. Alright, so this is the progress that I've made on number 4. I switched up and I did the cigar first this time around, and then I'm kind of working my way down, trying to make it as identical as possible. I think so far I'm actually doing pretty well. Why my other two were different was because I bought a bunch of new paint right here, and I started experimenting with new colors, and I love it, but the first one didn't have those colors, so now I'm kind of bringing back the original palette and getting it back to the first one as closely as possible. Okay, now the next step is to do layering. So you can never just do one painting in just one layer of paint like that. That's just very difficult to do. It's almost impossible. The more layers of paint you add, the more dimension you give the painting, the more values, the more real it's going to look in the end, as if you just keep layering. So I'm applying paint, I'm going to another ice cube, I'm applying paint, going to another ice cube, and then I kind of work my way, not like in a clock motion, but I'm kind of working my way around the canvas, applying as many layers of paint as possible, being sure to stay in the realm of like those highlights and those shadows, and making sure that the shapes don't blend together, but rather have their own unique individuality. So now I'm going back in with paint. I'm going to really emphasize those highlights and those shadows to help separate the shapes from each other. I'm also going to go in and paint the rim line and the fill line. The rim line's on top, the fill line is on the bottom, and in order to emphasize dimensionality, it's important that the lines are curved. That way it kind of gives us that 3D effect and lets us know that this is a physical object that has space and dimension. Then I'm just going to go in and touch up any minor detailing, such as the shadows and highlights. Alright, another 4 hours, and I'm pretty much done. So it's pretty close to the original. I think these are definitely the two closest ones than the other two. But yeah, thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Bye!